basic stuff. We won't really beat you to death with that. Another of the charts, sympathetic, parasympathetic, they work basically in against one another, if you will. One is going to be predominant at a particular time and cause those changes in the human body when a person is subjected to the stress. We have something we call fight or flight. Anybody in here familiar with fight or flight? What does fight or flight mean? Okay. Exactly. There's a certain part of the brain which is responsible for our survival instincts. If you, from a anthropological perspective, if you will, it's the oldest part of the brain, the part of the brain that has always been there. Some people call it the reptilian brain because every animal species has this particular aspect of the brain. It's what keeps you alive, so that keeps those processes functioning that you don't have to think about every minute of the day. Do you have to sit there and think about making your heart beat each time it contracts? Of course not. You have to sit there and think about how your food digests after you consume it? Of course not. That's a natural process. The fight or flight is the survival mode. And if you go back to the caveman, you know, out on the plain, when he sees the Tyrannosaurus Rex running across to make a meal out of him, he's not going to sit there and weigh the options, right? If I stand here until Rex gets here, he's probably going to chomp on me, and I'm probably going to turn into a dinosaur meal. Maybe I should head for my cave. I don't think my little spear here is going to do much with Mr. Rex. By that time, he's chomped, right? It's the fight or flight. The fight or flight overrides the logic centers of the brain, so that you will respond to the threat and avoid being harmed or to avoid the threat that you perceive it to be. Okay? That's just a very, very simplified definition here. Why is it important as far as the polygraph? Because when that critical question is asked to someone who's connected to the polygraph instrument, did you commit the crime? What do you think is going to happen as far as that fight or flight reflex if they sit there and deny any involvement when they're actually guilty? Do you think that particular question is going to create a threat in that person's mind? Of course it is. They've committed the crime, they're attached to this polygraph instrument, and you're asking them a question, did you do it? No, I didn't do it. That fight or flight reflex is going to kick in there. It's going to change the physiological aspects of the body, and those changes are going to be recorded on a polygraph instrument. So, I don't know if this one's going to work. If we've got to get the cursor up there, and we'll see if it's going to work, because this is one we always. Yeah, you got to click on it. Or I'll back it out and try it again. There you go. And it's looped. It'll just keep doing it as long as we stand here. Oh well, anyway. We have fun with it. I mean, you guys might think, what are these guys up to? They're a bunch of nuts. But anyway, we have fun with it. You're sitting there relaxed, and a bear charges through the door. Your nervous system is going to jump into emergency mode and rev us up. Heart rate, blood pressure will increase. Adrenals rev up. Muscle tone will increase. The eyes dilate, and all the non-essential life functions like digestion, cleansing, filtering, and healing are going to be cut off. Basically, that's what fight or flight does to you when you go into survival mode. Right? My nursing people? Does that sound accurate? You agree with that? Okay. Give me a weak hoorah. There you go. Fight or flight keeps you revved up until the danger from the bear goes away, and then we're supposed to come out of the emergency mode and return to the relaxed or parasympathetic. And that mode is referred to as equilibrium or homeostasis. Familiar with those terms, right? When we first start our polygraph, we usually start with a real simple little question like, is today Friday? Are you sitting down? Is your first name Bill? Is your first name Brenda? And when we ask a question like that, it gives us an indication of what a person's level of equilibrium or homeostasis looks like on a polygraph chart. Sounds like a dumb question. A lot of people say, why are you asking my name? I already told you my name. Well, that's okay, you know. I just want to see what it looks like when you answer on a polygraph. So, number one priority for your body is survival. If the brain perceives a threat to your sense of security, it's going to stay in emergency mode or defensive physiology. The brain is running from the bear. The polygraph records changes which occur as the body is running from the bear. Okay? Typical polygraph chart. Once our volunteers are connected to the polygraph instrument and we start asking our simple little questions, like, you know, are you a good person? You'll see some squiggly lines up there that look like this. The top two lines, the blue lines, are the breathing pattern. They come from those little tubes that go across the chest and the stomach. Okay? Or what is that? That's it. Discount double check. I like that. I know you can't see the colors very well, but there's a green line that rises and falls like the peaks of Sharp Mountain. That's that response or changes in the sweat gland activity, the GSR or EDR. And the lower one, of course, that's in red is your cardio. So once we get started up here, you're going to see things like that here on the screen while we're asking the questions, so that you'll understand why each of those different channels, what they are and where they're coming from. Okay? That's an isolated view of a breathing pattern. We don't have we do. Can you see where the tips of these breathing patterns drop right here? Somebody humor me. Yeah. Okay. Hoorah, that's what I like. Hoorah. Polygraph theory says that when someone first, I hate to use the word reacts, but it's a very simple word as we can use. When a person first reacts to a polygraph question that they feel threatened by, the breathing cycle is actually going to be suppressed. And in polygraph lingo, we call this holding and hoping. And holding and hoping means that as far as that respiration cycle goes, the person momentarily catches or suppresses their breath. Like when you're frightened or startled, the first thing you do is kind of, right? Somebody jumps out and scares you, you go, that first breathing cycle is going to be cut off, isn't it? And then we create, you'll see a stair step that occurs after that, because of that. When you lose that one cycle, your body has to recover that shortage of respiration. So in a typical respiratory reactionary cycle, you'll see the short cycle where the person first recognizes a threat, and then you'll see the body go into recovery. So it's going to stair step, boom, 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 and usually it terminates with a cycle a little bit higher than equilibrium or homeostasis. So first it's going to suppress, then it's going to recover, and that's exactly what we call it. Suppression followed by recovery. And you can actually see it there as well as anything that you guys could look at a polygraph chart and tell that was based on that information, that was a reactionary cycle. It's just, I mean, it's so obvious, isn't it? Short version. What is the examiner looking for? Any significant deviation from the normal. That's about as simple as you can make it. Right here, we have a very, very significant deviation from the norm. If you look at these cycles right here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right there. See how those cycles stay pretty much the same? And then if you go across there, you can see that there's a little bit of suppression here and a lot right here. That's telling the examiner something's going on here. There's a problem with this question. There's a problem. This question bothers this person. We need to talk about this, okay? That's a typical breathing cycle. We're almost up our 30 minutes, aren't we? That's our DDR, a GSR, and again, you've got a significant spike right here, whereas on both sides of it, it's nowhere near as significant, right? And cardio, you've got some nice even spikes going right here, but what happens right there? Significant arousal. You know, you could look at a chart and you could tell where the reactions are happening, couldn't you? Just based on that little 5-minute orientation. That's a combined chart. Again, breathing, EDR, cardio, and that's our little presentation. And we did it in 30 minutes, didn't we? Which is unusual, because usually Dr. Rue has shut up and sit down.
You want to pick a name?
Sure. And we've got to change over your screens there. I've got a little orphan Annie here. Annie. Let me get the software program fired up here. I actually went down deep because I said, well, I'm not going to get one right off the top. I'm going to go down here and we have a webcam that we attach to this at the office. We're just certainly not going to use it today. Yeah, I'm going to see how well that Dr. Rue has learned this process. Once we start asking the questions, you'll see the questions come up at the bottom of the screen. You got picked up on that, huh? Nobody's in the polygraph room but the person taking the test and the examiner. We just have to deal with it. Once I select the particular question sequence that we're going to use, you'll see the questions come up. Yes, ma'am. Nothing to look at. 4 walls, about maybe 8 by 10, 9 by 12, a desk, 2 chairs, and maybe the polygraph chair. And I don't know if you saw it in the first slide, but the arms are well supported securely so that to cut down on the movement. Some people say, well, it looks like an electric chair, but it's designed to make the arms stable and cut down on any unnecessary movement. Any movement over here is going to show up here as what we call a distortion or an artifact, and it tends to make the charts more difficult to evaluate. So what I will ask her to do at this point is to keep your feet flat if you can, if you're tall enough. Some people aren't. Let's see, we're going to try that. We're going to try to keep it hard on our fingertips if we can. Okay. Yeah, you might have to tighten them up a little bit.